All right, so it's been quite a while since I have worked on this building. This siding was subbed out. I was actually getting a little overwhelmed with this, and I didn't feel like I could do this at these two ends, so they just decided to farm it out. I did put the trim down on the bottom and trimmed out the doors for the most part, but they came in and put the corners in and put the downspouts in. And then you can see here I've got the two garage doors in, and we'll go through that. I'll show you how this one here was already installed. I went ahead and installed it, see how everything was going to fit, and I'll show you how I install this door. We've got very low clearance here above the door, so I ended up having to scab something together here. You can actually buy kits for this, but ended up having some old rails that I was able to install on top of the factory rails. Now I ended up having to cut this vertical rail down by 4 inches, and I actually cut it off the bottom, which I should have cut it off the top, because I ended up having to drill out these rivets and move that rail in, or I guess out towards the door opening, in order for it to seal tight, in order for the door to seal tight against that opening. But I'm going to go ahead and install the other one. You can see up there, I ended up having to put a piece of metal plate up there for the idler wheel to roll on for the spring setup that's on these doors. This is kind of an older style. It's not the torsion style spring that would go on top of the door. But everything seemed to work out okay. I've only got like a 1/2 inch of clearance between the floor joist and the door whenever it opens. But before I do that, I'm gonna go start a bonfire. Let's go get the tractor. Got my trusty gas gauge here. Oh yeah, we're good. Well, that's good enough for now. Come back and stir it later. All right, we're back on this garage door. I'm gonna go ahead and drill out these rivets so I can move this flag down after I cut this off at 4 inches. Just got a 3/8 drill bit here. I've also marked this flag where it is at the top edge of that track. I'm putting tension on this flag because that rivet's spinning. And just use a 16 penny nail and drive out that rivet. Alright, I've already got this marked. Go ahead and cut it. These grinders just chew batteries up. Oh, I got a corded cut off. Now I gotta mark my holes. Quarter-inch drill bit. Now I'm using these bolts that will lock in. They're flat because you can't have anything sticking out on this side where the roller's at, otherwise it'll hit. Start hanging some panels. I'm going to take these 1/4 20 by 5/8 self tappers and I'm going to run them in and get the hinges set. So you start with ones all the way across the bottom, then you go 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 4, 1, 4, and then the top is going to get a bracket. I get the bottom one set. I've got the number facing down because the other 3 are slots. Sure your gap is tight. I recommend if you can get a 7/16 that's magnetic, like a nut driver, that would be better. All right, this top bracket, I'm gonna flip this around to where these bolts are on this side. I'm actually going to take them off. I'm going to mount this, and then I'm going to mount that because I got to get a bolt right in there. And I'm going to put it at the very top here. Looks like we got it where it should mount. I'm not going to tighten these down yet. We're going to stick all but 2 of the rollers in. Now I want to install the left and right track. I'm going to leave about a 1/4 inch off the floor. Forgot to mount these 2 plates on the bottom. All right, now I'm gonna install the upper rail. I'm gonna put this small lag bolt at the top, and I'm gonna use a couple small 1/4-inch bolts to mount the track to each other. That one takes a 9/16. These small ones here. There's what that one looks like. These are 7/16 drivers. You get one and you get the other one in pretty easy. You take the slack off of it, or take the weight off of it. I'm not going to tighten those down just yet. Actually, you know what? I probably can. It looks like I can. I got to take this out and move it forward. The forward slot. I got to move it to the forward slot. It's in the back slot. That should drop it down back there. Just letting this rest against that post until I can get this hardware in. All right, I've got my donor rail laid up on top of my current rail, the new rail, and up in here in this corner. I know this wheel is going to be right about in here, so if I kind of eyeball it over, it's going to be right in here. So I know I can cut this off about right in here for right now. And then based on my other door, I bolted this up in here, so I know I'm probably going to be safe if I cut it off right around in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. I'll go ahead and mark it. I'll more than likely have to cut this shorter. I'm just trying to get this rail over there so I can get some kind of an idea where this is going to land. All right, I've got my rail up there. I'm gonna be short here, so I'm probably gonna have to add on to it. If you look at this side, it's gonna be real close. My other donor rail was longer. If we look here, I'm not looking too bad. I should be able to get a bolt in there. And I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna cut it back here. And I'm gonna cut it right up in here. The shorter I can make this, the better, because I got that cable that's gonna come down. It's gonna have that spring and that pulley installed up here with that plate. So I'm gonna get that marked and I'll get it cut and get it put back up here. Okay, so I've got this side, I've got it bolted in, got it cut to the length I want it. And what I would recommend doing is using this one as a template for your other side to do your first initial cut, and then go ahead and fit it to what you need, like I did over on this side. So I've got this one ready to go. I've got this side ready to cut for the other side. So I'll go ahead and do that and get it put in it. So in order to install this, I've got to take this piece of angle and I've got to run it behind, essentially on this outside of this other piece of flag here, and then I've got to slide the roller into the track. So that drops in. Now I can go ahead and put my bolt in. And this is just a carriage bolt. Nine 16ths inch. With 3/8, just something I had laying around from taking this old donor track down. And I'm gonna go ahead and tighten these two bolts that are on this roller bracket. I'm pulling this bracket back as far as I can, that wheel, so that it stays tight. So the door, so it pushes the door tight, the opening. One more thing that I'm gonna do, it's probably really windy and I apologize. I'm gonna drill a hole right here in this track, and I'm gonna put one of these, I guess shallow mount, self-adhering bolts, 1/4 inch, in there to hold that track tight against this track here, this rail. Just watch so you don't drill into your wheel. Should be able to take these nails out now. All right, so now I've got to make a piece to tie those two tracks together. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take and cut a piece of this angle. I've got to cut the length, and I'm going to go ahead and just cut it along here and make a piece here, and then I'll do the same thing for the other side. this to be flat is because that spring here on here. It's probably going to catch this a little bit. These doors might need to be cut off. All right, so I cut a couple 11.5-inch long piece of track from the donor. You can tell it's all smashed up here. And then I actually found off of the flag from the donor, I can use this as my connector bracket. So I'm gonna cut this off of 2 of them and have it to put it together. You get the idea. I'm not gonna video the other one. All right, I've got my homemade plate here for my idler roller that's gonna run that cable. Go ahead and get that installed. I'm using a couple 5/16 by 3/4 hex head bolts with a lock nut on it. Putting a washer on both sides. My saving grace is here is being able to be up inside of these joists. One of my reasons for being up high like that is so that that spring doesn't hit this track. You could probably put it down lower if you wanted to. Now, as far as those torsion springs, I don't think there would be enough room to get one of those in here. I've seen where a guy actually had the torsion spring mounted out there on the end of the tracks, and it seemed to work. His was pretty Frankenstein too. Now I'm just installing the U-bolt for the spring. Not running into problems here. It might work. We'll find out. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and lace my cable here. So you got to loop it through the 2 small holes. And you got to give this enough gap. You can take and run that through just like that. That's all you got to do. The other side. Let's check functionality. Yeah, it's noisy. It don't work that great, but gotta do what you gotta do. Should be able to put that lock on now. I'm gonna try to run these in without having to pre-drill them. Got these going every foot. You get the idea. I'm just gonna ants pants this one. Go ants pants mode. You guys know what that means? Alright, since I didn't get any footage of installing this weather stripping, that was the piece you saw me put in, but that's how it's finished out. It's pretty windy right now, I don't know if you hear me. But you can see how ripply it is, and what I should have done was, on this piece of trim, I should have bent like a 1-inch flange on it and tied it in inside there, and that would have straightened that out a lot better than what it is. And now for the next episode, I'm going to be running the wiring. You can see I've already got it done, but I got some receptacles along the wall there. And I've got these lights put in. Same stuff's going upstairs. Got the panel put in over there. Got to wait for the electrician to get here to wire it up, and then I went ahead and installed this workbench here. So that'll be in the next video. Wow. Ladybugs.